Good evening and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Kline, joined by Dave Kline, filling in for Patrick Cassett, who is on spring break. And we have breaking news. Chicago will be trading the number one pick in the draft for pick number 961, a first in 2024, a second in 2025, and DJ Moore from the Carolina Panthers. Did Carolina get fleeced here? And is it worth an unproven quarterback, which we assume Carolina is going to take?
I don't know if they got fleeced, but I think Carolina is a franchise that's desperate. And if you look at their moves the last couple of years, even this year, like it's like they've abandoned who they thought they were going to be really quickly and are starting from scratch again. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they're giving up a lot for somebody that could be, not Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. I don't know.
We don't really know who they're going to pick. People are going to forget, though, just a year ago, they had two quarterbacks. One was named Sam Darnold, and the other was Baker Mayfield, and that was their quarterback competition. So maybe that experience kind of just made them question things and go, hey, you know what? Maybe we're going to give up everything for us to never have to have that situation ever again.
So they had two top 10 quarterbacks out of the 2018 draft.
That's a great point.
That they just said, we're just going to go in a complete different direction and start and draft a new, number one pick from the 2023 draft and see where it goes, who has no experience.
And because clearly, based on the Carolina's experience, they know that, a top 10 draft pick gets you a guy. And they said, hey, we saw what Baker Mayfield did when he went to the Rams. We can't let that go again. We need to try to recreate that.
They thought, man, we got to be on the other end of that. We keep letting these guys go and they do great things. McCaffrey made the playoffs. Yeah. Like, who would have thought? Like, one of the best running backs in the league would actually be good.
And of course, Carolina's excited because, once they get this brand new quarterback, they're going to be, obviously it doesn't really matter who he's going to be throwing it to because they gave away their number one wide receiver and arguably one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, didn't they give up a guy last year too? Like they got who did they just like?
They did get rid of Robbie Anderson, who went to the Cardinals. Robbie Anderson is actually no longer a Cardinal as of this week, so he will be.
Cardinals are dropping like flies. They're
free agency.
Everybody, get me out of here.
That's
Well, listen, bad franchises do bad franchise things, and that's why they're bad. And so, Carolina's going to draft somebody, and they're going to get a lot of excitement for about a half a season, and then people are going to go, this guy's not that good. I mean, like they're trying to figure out how to get back to the first three seasons of Cam Newton again. How do we get that back?
Well, I don't know. They're gonna figure that out. I don't know if any of the guys in the draft it's going to be that, but who knows? But speaking of wide receivers leaving Arizona, one wide receiver is actually going to Arizona to work out, and that is Odell Beckham Jr. He's holding workouts in Arizona, which kind of confuses me because I don't think Arizona is actually on the list of teams that are interested in Odell Beckham Jr., but two teams who are, the Ravens, confirmed were there, and the Jets. And now, if you're Odell Beckham Jr. and you got these two teams looking at you and you're going, okay, so the Jets, I could be playing there, and my quarterback could be Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson. And then you go on the Ravens, you're like, my quarterback could be Lamar Jackson, or it could be Tyler Huntley. So it's,
or to be determined
quarterback who we don't know.
Could be the best one.
So it is an interesting situation. Like if you're Odell Beckham Jr., like how do you make a decision? You're choosing between something that you don't even know exists.
What is Odell like? His legacy is, I had a couple really great catches, and I have a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And I go, if that dude was on a franchise that had somebody that could consistently throw to him, like the end of last year, he was getting the ball from Stafford consistently, and you could see hey, this guy's pretty good. And in the first half of the Super Bowl, obviously,
he was the MVP until he got hurt.
It was having a good game. Go to where the quarterbacks are. Find a great quarterback. most franchises would love to sign a marquee wide receiver because most franchises don't have a true number one. They have somebody they think's a number one, and then it usually drops off. And there's guys out there that can throw the ball to you, and you can make a quarterback. I'm surprised that I'm sure it's happening. Like guys are out there recruiting Odell and like, hey, listen, come here. But like if Aaron Rodgers lands on the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers lands on the Jets and Odell Beckham lands on the Jets, that's going to be a tough team. I mean, I know like you look at that division with Buffalo, but like Buffalo's plateaued, in my opinion.
I mean, I think we've seen the best that Buffalo's going to be. I don't think Buffalo gets any better than what they were last year
without any personnel changes. I mean,
how do you get better? Because then you get to the point where you're going to have to start paying these people. I mean, sure, maybe you fix the run game or you do something there, but I don't think Buffalo's as good as they're going to be. But you're right, there is people recruiting. Sauce Gardner on FaceTime with OBJ, trying to pull him in. Sauce Gardner also confirmed burned the cheese head that he stole when they beat the Packers, burned it with several other players on the Jets as a sacrifice to try to get Aaron Rodgers to the team. I'm not sure if it's going to pay out, but if they do, like if the Jets land Aaron Rodgers and OBJ, I mean, Sauce Gardner immediately probably needs to get a raise.
Yeah. He could be, he should probably actually be an agent and
he should probably represent Lamar.
He could probably do that. He could just say, hey, listen, let me just handle this for you and in between snaps, and I'll make the calls and I'll get things done. Probably could do a better job than most agents out there. I mean, if he lands these two guys, I mean, that'd be pretty solid. I do have, I can relate because I have stolen a couple cheeseheads in my day. Yeah. I never burned them. Probably should have. But I don't think. But I do. That's another story for another day. When you get a little bit older, I'll share that one with you.
Yeah. Well, listen, it will be interesting, but he's doing everything he can to get them. I don't think the Ravens, though. I mentioned the Ravens as one of the teams that can get OBJ. Like the Ravens have pretty much no like free agent leverage as of this moment. If you're a free agent, you're not going. Yeah, I'm really eager to try to make a deal with the Ravens right now.
I mean, unless you're like the top long snapper in the league and you're hey, man, I am going to be part of that trio.
I would love to be there.
That's a Hall of Fame trio, right? I mean, even though Sam Cook out of it,
I'd argue a lot of long snappers are probably pretty scared to try to go.
Probably if they want to test their skill, if they want to prove that they're the man, that's we can land those guys.
Don't screw up.
Right.
Yeah. That's what they're thinking all day.
All that, yeah. I mean that so we probably have that market solidified. If you're in a defensive person, historically, people wanted to come to Baltimore and play with great Hall of Fame players. I think that may be coming back a little bit because our defense actually as a nightmare as it was in the beginning of last year. Once Roquan Smith came and solidified that thing, they're legit now. I don't know. Listen, you're not coming to Baltimore right now if you're number one wide receiver, unless there's some inside baseball stuff that DaCosta's telling you that's not public yet. Why would you go with that uncertainty? Guys want to catch the ball from somebody that can throw the ball to them. And if Lamar isn't the quarterback, that's a big unknown, right? You're not going to sign.
It's like, oh yeah, like OBJ is like, yes, I definitely want to come, catch balls from Tyler Huntley. I don't think Tyler Huntley. I love Tyler Huntley. His legs. I mean, when he's running, sometimes he's quick. I don't know if he can throw the ball more than 30 yards.
I think he can. But I think
I have to see it first.
He just he was in the situation. He came in last year. He was asked like, listen, we're a playoff team. Don't screw it up. Just keep us going so that we can at least make the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens.
Moments.
He had moments here and there, but he's not the number one, and he won't be. I mean, listen, I think could he start in this league? Sure, there's a lot of starters in this league that aren't as good as Tyler Huntley, but hopefully we're not going to invest in him as the starter. Mm-hmm. I don't know what our plan B is if we don't sign Lamar, but if it's as a PSL holder, if they say, we're just going to run with Tyler Huntley for a year, I'm gonna be like, you gotta be kidding me. Really? I mean, like, not that he'll win games, but they're not gonna be a threat.
Yeah, we have
to
too
win
much
the
talent
AFC.
though to kind of to waste on that right now. You know what I'm saying? Like we have,
And I know, listen,
we have too much
realistically-
people. So I don't
even think that's an option. I know those guys are smarter than that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when who knows what's going to happen, because if they say, hey, if they let Lamar walk and they get draft picks, and there's not a lot of marquee free agent quarterbacks out there that you're signing, so you take that off the table, and then you're in the draft. And I just don't think this year's draft. I think there's good serviceable quarterbacks that are gonna, but they're not game changers.
You have
they're not
three,
Lamar
there's three
Jackson.
quarterbacks who you can draft that might be good, and then there's like 3 quarterbacks who like maybe like could
But who's
be.
the third? You think Richardson's the third?
Yeah, so I'd say right now your best bet at quarterback is you can go C.J. Stroud,
Yeah.
you can go Bryce Young,
Yeah.
you can go Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young played at the top schools in the country, right?
Yeah.
And if you watch that Georgia game, I think Stroud, they had him, right? I mean, it took a missed field goal and a made field goal for Georgia to beat them. And Ohio, that was a game.
That essentially was the national championship game.
I mean, that was a great game.
That was, I mean, like
midnight, the field goal goes
that
through the
was the
uprights.
national
You couldn't. I mean, like
game.
that's scripted right there. Somebody.
But then again, but also on the other side of that, you have
time in the flyover.
On the other side of that, you have Stetson Bennett though, who 2-time national champion, and he's not even like he's like 8th.
He's going to be.
He's behind. I
great
think he's
backup.
behind like Max Duggan for as far as like QB grade from the combine.
Yeah, he
So-
probably should be. I mean,
So it's like you just go, man, he was a Heisman finalist, and I think it's wild to me.
I hear if he got the opportunity to be a number one on a decent team that had a great running game, good offensive line, and weapons, can he get the ball to them? Probably.
Yeah.
He's
Maybe
gonna.
so you're telling me that he could thrive on a team with a great run game, a great defense, and maybe a great tight end.
Yeah. Maybe.
And maybe if he had experience with an offensive coordinator who knew how to run a system with a great run game and a great defense and a great tight end.
If that plays out, it's going to be insane. If they bring him in,
I
and
mean-
they could. I mean, listen,
I just did the math
you don't
there.
think-
Simple math tells me that
that is a lot.
something's connecting.
That's simple math. That is very simple. I don't know.
1 + 1 = 2.
If the Ravens brought him in, as they'd have to bring him in.
He's gonna. By the way, he would fall to a pick. Like he will be on the board when the Ravens draft.
Yeah, but he's going to be on the when do you think he's going to go? Where do you think
He's like right. He's gonna be. He might be on the board like 3 times.
he's not a first rounder, right?
I
He's
don't
not
think
a
so.
second rounder?
No. He's not
Third
first
rounder, maybe?
He's probably second, third rounder. I feel like, but maybe I don't know. But the Ravens. I mean, that's the guy the Ravens could get. Now, granted, I mean he's basically Lamar's age, so you're not moving in a younger direction.
No.
You're basically just moving in a less expensive one.
I tell you what, though, man, that's a tough sell. It's a tough sell to the fan base. It's a tough
So,
sell.
hey,
when
we're gonna
you
bring in a
go-
guy who led a team to 2 national championships, but he's like 26.
He's got the pedigree.
So he's pretty much like, he's older than Joe Burrow. So, but
Name a more successful college quarterback than Stetson Bennett.
you can't,
You
though.
can't.
Yeah.
It's probably
And
true.
he had a historic defense. I mean, pretty much every single player from his first national championship was on the defense side was drafted.
Oh yeah, you look at last year's draft is ridiculous.
It's
Georgia
just all
player.
Georgia. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out, especially with Lamar and the Ravens. I don't know I feel like that conversation has been just played out for this whole week. Everyone knows every scenario. Now it's just waiting on who's gonna make a move or who's gonna do something. Personally, I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see what the Ravens do. The Dolphins pick up Tua's 5th-year option. He's getting $23 million this year, so it seems like the Dolphins are definitely rolling with Tua publicly. I don't know if there's a conversation between, the Dolphins if they're like, hey, like we should draft a guy, we should maybe trade a guy. I don't know. It seems like it seems like Mike McDaniels is going, we're going to go with Tua and hope that he can consciously think and like still knows how to count.
Well, he's going into his 4th year, right? So they picked up his 5th-year option. So now that he's signed and they picked it up, I mean, if you trade him, you're saying that I got this guy for 2 years at least. I think they're going to make a run for Lamar, to be honest with you.
No way. Really? Would they trade?
It feels like, I think they like Tua. I don't think, but I think they would, like he had, after his concussion, he was different.
Yeah,
slightly
that's
different.
true. He was not the same.
And they got weapons, and I don't know. I just think there's a lot of barking out there, but the whole Lamar situation has just, I think there's a shock out there that you got a guy of his caliber that it's just sitting there and there's zero interest publicly. That doesn't mean there's interest. There's interest. People are going to go, all right, what do we got? What is it going to take to get this guy?
Yeah.
And I think I'm sure Baltimore's got a price for people know what it's going to take financially to get him, or at least they know in the ballpark, I think. But it's if they're going to want a deal, Baltimore says, hey, we'll match the offer, and you're going to have to come to the table with more than 2 first-round picks. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Vikings release Adam Thielen, clearing up cap space. That's another wide receiver who's now on the market. There's wide receivers out there for teams who need wide receivers.
Yeah.
They are, they're out there. It's going to be interesting to see where
maybe it's because of
Justin Jefferson. Kind of. I think Justin Jefferson, how great he is, definitely made Thielen seem not as good. But Thielen, I think, is he's a number 2 wide receiver still. I just don't think to the Vikings, they're like, what Thielen is owed. It didn't make sense for them to pay Thielen when it's like, well, listen, we got right. Justin Jefferson. We could throw in any single person in that second spot, and they're going to be open every single play.
But Thielen, you bringing that guy in, if you're a weapon short, if you're bringing him in to sell him as to your
you wouldn't sell him as like a guy to bring your team. He's like, if you have Thielen on your team, you probably have a couple good guys on your team, and you're probably he's probably he puts you over. I think he puts some teams over.
Yeah, pair him up with Cooper Kupp.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Yeah. Just the Caucasian invasion over there.
You gotta have the numbers very close, and they just, Cooper Kupp just finds a way to get open.
By the way, Matt Stafford, Matt Stafford is making as much as Daniel Jones. He's on the same deal.
Yeah, but he's on the. I boggles me that Daniel Jones got the money he got, but it's a market, I guess. But you look at that structure, and people are going to say, "Oh, look at how Daniel Jones got that much money." He's a starting quarterback for the New York Giants, and it's only 2 years of guaranteed money.
Yeah, and
they're going to roll with it 2 years because they think they might have something. The coach, this year they turned the.
And it's also he took the team to the playoffs for the first time, and sometimes there's just you're owed that,
Yeah.
But it's like the Joe Flacco contract. Joe Flacco gets a massive deal after that year. It's like he won a Super Bowl. He's owed.
Yeah.
But
he played a lot of. He was owed. He signed that $120 million deal, and
which, by the way, isn't that crazy? You say $120 million. That seems so small now.
It was 10 years ago.
But at the time, that was
crazy.
That was huge.
10 years ago. But he played, I think, 5 years of that contract, so he got most of it. I believe I have to go back and look at that, but I think that because we got rid of him after the 2018 season, so he won.
He's doing all right.
He's not starving.
He's doing all right, and he led the who did he keep out of the playoffs? He kept Steelers out of the playoffs.
Did he?
Yeah,
he's got his moments.
Yeah. He kept the Steelers out of the playoffs.
That's right. He was
strategic loss. So he's still
he knew he had to step up
making
on that
playoff.
One. He's like, all right,
big moments.
I'm gonna go back to 2010, 2011, Joe, and
yeah. Moving on to NASCAR. This is a big NASCAR show, as we all know. Chase Elliott out officially for 6 weeks due to his snowboarding incident. And now, after that news, Kyle Busch becomes the favorite to win the championship at 6-1 odds.
Yeah. Well.
And some were saying that not only has Kyle Busch become the favorite for the championship. Some are saying he's become the favorite driver.
They cheered him.
Period.
In Fontana. They cheered him last week, which is bananas because, and I don't know what it is, but like maybe it's like Joe Gibbs is like a nice guy. You got to feel bad for him. Like he's lost both his sons.
That's tough. It is tough.
But it feels like when Kyle left there, it's like for some reason he's, he maybe because they like Richard Childress. I don't know. Maybe they don't like Toyota. But I've been to plenty of races where Kyle is booed mercilessly.
I've been booing him. I was part of it.
Yeah, I don't hate him that much anymore for some reason. Denny Hamlin's kind of filled in his slot, which is another Joe Gibbs driver. But listen, the car right now is equal enough because they're all buying the same chassis.
Yep.
The only thing different is whatever engine they're putting in and tweaks that they can do that, and it's really limited on what the things they can do now to really give them a major competitive edge. I'm not saying that there's not stuff, there is.
Yeah.
His car is good enough that he can get in there and he is going to compete week in and week out. He is going to be a tough out, and if you get it, Kyle Busch at a 1.5 mile track is probably right now, he's going to be the favorite at every 1.5 miles, even, a mile track, because he's by far, the most talented driver still. Chase was right there. Now Chase is hurt. What? I just don't understand. Like, dude, you are the most popular driver. You showed up. I mean, he got hurt on Saturday, right? So he had to be at the track on Friday.
Yeah.
When they unload the car and they get the test laps in and they qualify. I'm assuming they qualify. I don't have to go back. But like you got hurt on a Saturday.
Just a quick trip, in
quick Colorado. The race was in Vegas. Like I'm sure Henrik is blowing his mind going, what were you thinking, dude?
Well,
like you have to be at the track. You're the face of the sport. You're the face of the sport. The sport only is at one track every week. You have to be there.
Well, yeah. And listen, internet consensus is Chase fans are like so sometimes when a player does something or a driver or whoever it is, like a star athlete or just celebrity does something bad, generally the fans will like kind of be there to defend him and like soften the blow. They'll be like, oh, well, it's like there's nothing in the rules to say you can't go snowboarding. No, but like seems to me like fans are actually pretty upset about it.
People get hurt snowboarding. If you're not good at snowboarding, you're going to get hurt. I don't know if he's an expert snowboarder. He grew up in Georgia, not really, known for, the snowboarding,
just the slopes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a hill I've seen in Georgia. I've been in Atlanta. There's a hill out in the, you see it out there, some famous hill. But like, dude, I don't know. You have, hey, season ends early November. You got November, get December, get January. That prime snowboarding months.
Great snowboarding. Arguably better snowboarding.
Because if you get hurt, you're like, oh man, I got hurt before the season, whatever. You're in the season, dude. You can do anything you want. You could have flown to the Bahamas and hung out at a pool if you needed a getaway.
See, if I was Chase, here's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I get hurt snowboarding. I don't say anything. I suck it up. I get into the car on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like maybe like lap 5, like do like fake, like the car got loose, run it into the wall and then like, oh, get out. Like say we need the ambulance, call it, boom, play it off.
Yeah.
It was a freak accident in the car. And then boom, guess what? You had your fun snowboarding. Nobody cares. It's a non-issue. And actually now you're a hero because you got hurt on the track.
Yeah. On paper, that sounds like a decent idea, except he required a 3-hour surgery. So I don't know what your leg looks like before a 3-hour mandatory surgery to put it back together. But I don't think he's
probably not great
showing up to the track, sucking it up. I think they would see something like, hey, why is your leg going in a 90-degree angle from your femur out? Like,
oh no, just the way the fire suit looks on me today.
New trend. Like, and I mean, remember Kyle Busch got hurt in the car at Daytona, and he broke his leg. So it's possible. I mean, you do break your leg
in the car.
So legs are important when driving. I found,
And then he could have really
he won the championship that year, by the way.
So this is a sign.
So maybe Chase is like, hey, listen, I need some luck. Let me go out, break my leg.
He break a leg literally, goes out, breaks his leg.
Yeah,
and then here's the thing, because now he gets 6 weeks to hop in the sim.
Yeah,
and maybe work some things out. And what happens if Josh? What's his face?
Josh Berry.
Josh Berry. If Josh Berry wins a race,
yes,
is he in the chase or the playoffs?
I don't know. I don't know how I gotta have to go back and look that up. I don't think because you have to. He's full time for Junior Motorsports, and so because he's an Xfinity full time driver in that chase, you can't be in two playoffs. So
okay, well, what happens about this? What happens then? Josh Berry wins this week.
Yeah,
and then he's like, okay, well, I'm not going to race for Junior Motorsports the rest of the year, and then now he's no longer a full time driver, and then he just races full time in the 9 car for the rest of the year, and then boom, now is he in the chase?
I'd have to go look in the
because there has to be some sort of incentive for it. I mean,
yeah, he's
other
than
than great. It's a great chance. I get that. I get that. But all I'm saying is,
I mean, before this accident, most people had no idea who Josh Berry was, even though he drives for Junior Motorsports.
Yeah. I mean, he was next in line. He was gonna Junior Motorsports is basically,
it's a good opportunity. I mean,
it's minor league.
Well, Junior Motorsports is pretty much a feeder system.
If you're in Junior Motorsports, you're like, hey, listen, my turn's coming.
But they could have brought so many guys back into that car. That would have been so cool. Like I would have went and put Jimmy in there.
I would ask. Yeah, you do it first. You go, hey, Jimmy,
in there for a race. Put Casey Kane back in there for a race.
I bet you Tony
put Junior back in there.
I bet you could get Tony Stewart down there.
Yeah, he might.
He might probably won't fit in the car.
Why? He owns 4 cars. If there was an opportunity for him to go back in the track, Tony Stewart could just go and.
I don't think they can. I think the chassis are getting a little too small for.
He's a big boy now, but he's he's a short big boy. That's what we call chubby.
I wonder. Do you think is he still racing the dirt tracks? I bet you he hops in every once in a while.
He runs the SRX.
Yeah, so he's still.
I mean, he runs that car, but that's his. He's owner of the SRX series, I think, right? One of them. So he probably designed the car so that he could fit in it.
Which has made it like a special one. It's got a 5th wheel.
Yeah. It's got underneath it. It's got
yeah. Now Tony Stewart, I'm sure he's getting payday from Fox though. So I don't think it's a real big deal.
I'll tell you what, Tony Stewart though.
He sounds like he should be he's commentating golf.
But here's why I like Tony Stewart, because
this is where
he is he comes across when he's doing the play-by-play. It's mild manner. He's talking about the race, but dude, that guy was ferocious on the track and off the track. I mean, nobody wanted to mess with that dude.
And he was widely loved, but he was also
I think he was widely hated. That's the thing that's missing right now. It's because
a little bit of parody.
I think guys are just wimpy. Even last year when Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin were going at it, and I felt like Ross had an opportunity to go to Denny. Dude, F you. I'm not, I'm racing the way I'm racing, but he was just like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. Be who you are. If you're gonna be aggressive on the track, if people call you out, just be like, whatever, dude. I'm that's it.
Or fire back. Back. Listen, make it fun. Listen, that's the thing. Every single sport has trash talk, whether people are actually mean it or not, you don't think that every single wide receiver is lining up and talking to the DB and going, hey, I'm going to smoke you here, that exists. Why doesn't it happen in NASCAR? Why aren't they going at each other and saying?
It used to, and even a couple years ago, you saw more of it. And I feel let these guys have their personalities and let them go after each other.
Think about how many middle fingers are given every single day on the highway, on just regular, throughout the streets.
I don't even make it out of the driveway without giving at least 2.
And so you think about that, and then you go into NASCAR, which is okay, so the 60 when you're going 55 down, and you're in the slow lane, somebody thinks you're not going fast enough, and they pass you going 65, then they're giving you the bird. But guess what? And when you amplify it. Now you're doing this for your career. You're going, 200 miles an hour, and then somehow there's less.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think you should get extra points. Like if you can drive with one hand, give the bird. But it's got to be like certain situation. They should bonus points. Like if somebody does something to you, you're allowed to give the bird back to them, and if you do, you get like half bonus point if it's appropriate. Like there be a panel that says that's he was work he
I agree. Something's got to change for sure. But we'll get there. Wait, once I get in the car, 2025, 2026 timeline, because as I'm experting, and perfecting the iRacing simulator, we'll get there. It's a process. It's a process. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure if you're listening on any podcast platform that you give us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. And then we'll be back Monday as usual. I guess then hopefully there'll be more sports to talk about. This week, the NFL has been it's been actually electric. And there was like 2 weeks there where I didn't think there was going to be sports to talk about ever again. And then also March Madness coming up. We're going to be doing a little something special for that. So make sure you watch out for that. Maryland plays here in a couple hours. So, it's coming out. Adam Schefter reported Carolina tried to trade for Matthew Stafford. And they did last season. They tried getting Deshaun Watson. So this was that's probably why they motivated them to go all in. They were probably like, I'm tired of not getting quarterbacks.
Yeah. The more people that are out of the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, the better for Baltimore. So let's just hope we can.
That's great. I mean, if nobody wants him, think about this. If nobody signs him and nobody makes him an offer, I mean, listen, we could lowball. We might be able to get him for less than Daniel Jones.
Everything you hear about Lamar, everything they say, Lamar hasn't been on the field at the end of the last 2 years. He's he missed X amount of games. He can't win the big game. He can't do that. Or on the other side, people are going, well, he's won an MVP and his record's amazing. All that's noise. It's noise from both sides.
Yeah.
Lamar's a starting quarterback in the NFL who is easily, when playing well, top 5 quarterback in the league. He's a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
He's a difference maker.
Yes.
This whole thing about Lamar is a market reset for the owners, period. They know it. They're not colluding, but they're not stupid either. These are business guys that are not going to give up all of that guaranteed money, which, by the way, they have to sit in escrow. The billionaires make money. They don't take hundreds of millions of dollars and just sit it on the shelf doing nothing.
Yep.
That's not what they're about. They want to make sure that
their money makes money.
Their money makes money. So all they're saying is, hey, Deshaun Watson's an outlier. He's an outlier. And we need to make sure that the next quarterback that signs is a marquee quarterback that signs for what the next step up from the last guy is. The last guy that signed a big deal was Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and they both signed for reasonable money. Patrick Mahomes signed at the end of 2020, and his guaranteed money is $145 million.
He signed after he won a Super Bowl.
So you think about that, okay, maybe it's been a couple years since then. It hasn't jumped to $230 million guarantee. So to make Deshaun Watson's contract a true outlier, which they all want to, they have to have a quarterback. Kyler Murray was not that quarterback. So when he signed his deal, that didn't reset the market. That's just like, well, he's definitely not as good as Lamar. So, we don't count that as, that's the new market. So Lamar re-signing at a reasonable amount, not reasonable when I'm saying like, hey, it's not Deshaun Watson money. It's more than Patrick Mahomes money, more than Josh Allen's money. He's the only quarterback that can reset the market, and they know it. So that's what this is about. And he's going to re-sign or sign, and it's going to be reasonable. And that's, and the owners need that to happen. That's why they're not jumping.
And it looks like it's going to happen. So we'll see. We'll have that to talk about on Monday and more. And then, you guys have a wonderful day.